Have you ever noticed that sometimes when you're living the best you can, you have the worst things happen to you? You're trying to live for God, you're trying to do all the right things, yet all sorts of wrong things are happening to you, things you can't even control. I want to encourage you today that God can turn bad into good, and God can turn bad things into greater good. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. It says, "And we know that all things, good and bad, all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to His purpose." So as long as I keep loving God when bad things are happening, as long as I keep living out my purpose in following Him, God has promised to turn my bad into greater good. Think about the story of Joseph. He had one bad thing after another happen to him. God gave him a dream as a teenager of being a leader. He shared it with his brothers. They got jealous. They got offended. And so they kidnapped him. And then they threw him in a well. And then they sold him into slavery. That's terrible. Beyond that, he's working for his master Potiphar in Egypt. And he's doing a great job. And he's growing as a leader. He's developing. But yet, his master's wife tries to seduce him. He says no. He does all the right things, but she gets mad and she lies about him and says that he tried to rape her and gets him thrown into prison. What a terrible bad thing happening to him while he's trying to do a good thing. While he's in prison, he gets to assume more responsibility, learn more leadership. He gets to know some influential people. And one of them has a dream, and he interprets it and tells the guy he's going to get out of prison and get back on the cabinet of Pharaoh. And he asks the guy, when you get out, remember me. Remember that it's unjust that I'm in here. Get me out of prison. Well, the guy does. Everything happens just as Joseph said, except the guy forgets him and leaves him in prison for several years. Joseph's trying to do good. Bad things are happening. Then Pharaoh has a dream. Nobody can interpret it. The man in his cabinet remembers Joseph. Finally, and he says, Joseph can interpret your dream. Joseph does interpret Pharaoh's dream. Pharaoh is impressed. He releases Joseph from prison. He makes him the prime minister, and Joseph uses his position to save the lives of thousands and thousands of people, including his own family, the Hebrew nation, the Jews, the people of God. And Joseph understood that God was bigger than this whole situation. When his brothers came to him and they were worried that he was going to kill them because of what they'd done to him, this is what Joseph said. "Don't be afraid, for am I in the place of God? But as for you, you meant it for evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring it about as it is this day to save many people alive." I want to encourage you, if you're trying to do all the right things and all sorts of bad things are happening to you, be encouraged. God can take the worst and turn it into the best. God turns bad things into good things.